Hello and welcome to Les Oderants. With me, Dan. I'll be your host, guiding you through this ridiculous podcast that we'll be launching very soon and releasing a new episode every 2 weeks. My background is that I'm a fragrance collecting obsessive. I run an Instagram page called Fragrance Weirdo. So I don't have a background in perfumery as such, but I am a long-time fragrance collecting obsessive. I spend most of my time thinking about perfume, reading about perfume, and of course spending all my money on perfume. Now I got into perfume, really deep into perfume through Aventus, as so many people did. I'd been into it since the age of about 13. I started with stuff like Egoist. And I was massively influenced by that video, that advert in the 90s with the opening and shutting windows and the women screaming. And that immediately just sort of drove me straight towards the chemist and I'd like a bottle of Egoist, please. But yeah, in terms of style, I am really kind of quite open-minded. I have a lot of vintage perfumery, got some really old school stuff like Patou and some Guerlain, Derby and that kind of stuff. But I also like some of the ultra modern things as well. I guess I'm really open-minded. It can be incredibly expensive. It can be incredibly cheap. It does not necessarily have to be natural. It can be anything as long as I enjoy the smell and I feel like there is some element of creativity. I'm down to try it and play around. Joining me in this voyage of discovery, this opportunity to talk absolute bollocks about perfume, are two great friends. First up, I'd like to introduce James. James, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm James. I've been into perfume for a long time, longer than I care to remember, and I've been blogging, writing about perfume for a long time as well. I have a Instagram, Houdini Scent of the Day. I think my interest in perfume was sort of first sparked from working in the scientific field and my dad being a chemist. He was into fragrances to an extent in that, you know, he travelled a lot and, you know, bought different fragrances and things. And yeah, it was just born from there, really. What I like about perfume is that it's a kind of mixture of art and science, two things that I'm into. So yeah, that's me really. In terms of my preferences, pretty broad minded. You know, I'm into a lot of different stuff from ultra modern, minimal kind of perfumery to really bombastic, you know, old Chypres and vintage stuff. Everything really, everything and anything, as long as it's interesting and wearable and makes me feel something, then I'm down for it.
Awesome. Also joining us on this podcast is my good friend Ben. Ben, say hello.
Hello, I'm Ben. I run a very unheard of YouTube channel called Talking Sense. Pretty much no one watches it, and if you do, you should really only watch it to fall asleep. I've been into perfume for probably since about the early 90s. I'd probably, like a lot of people actually in my age, I got into it with the kind of boom of CK1 and things like that. That kind of unisex cologne vibe that was very, very popular in that early to mid 90s. And then I started sort of, I wouldn't say I was like into perfume back then, but I was, you know, I enjoyed buying more than I should. And then early 2000s, I got really into it with things like Terre d'Hermès and stuff like that. I kind of worked out that I really liked vetiver in that and started digging, and then through that found things like Serge Luton, and the rest was kind of big financial black hole. Other than that, like I dabbled a bit more recently in sort of bedroom perfumery, but it hasn't gone very far. That's about that. That's me. Yeah, I tend to like the skanky animal side of things.
So we'll be releasing this podcast every 2 weeks, and we hope you absolutely love what we've got to say. It's mostly going to be a bit of discussion about perfume, what's going on in the perfume world, a bit of news, and then some long-form discussions on interesting and exciting topics. We really hope you can be part of this. Get involved, drop us a line, suggest topics, all of that kind of stuff. We're really excited. We hope you're excited too. We hope you'll join us. Right, that was surprisingly difficult.